Good morning. This is Sweetie Berry with the Women of Dare Whimsy. Each week on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., we gather for something we call Between Us Girls, a conversation among creative and gifted women. You see, we know that well-able thinkers have a different kind of life, whether it's our perfectionism, whether it's our urgency to finish things, whether it's our absolute hyper-focus at times. Being a creative, being a gifted woman can sometimes truly affect the way we function in the rest of our daily lives. So we spend this time each week conversating together and sharing information on how we try to live healthier lives as women, as business owners, as employees, employers sometimes, as moms, wives, sisters, and whatever other relationship we have in our life. We find that the community of sharing of what this experience of being gifted is worth the time. We have such insights with each other, and we grow each other, and we hope that you'll grow us too with your comments and sharings. Good morning, Dr. Edith Johnston. I'm so glad you're with us today. Would you share with us today's topic? And just
Yes. Good morning, and good morning, dear Whimsy. Women here and both at watching us on the board. Thank you very much for coming aboard. We're checking in, and we're checking in literally with each other today and checking in with ourselves. Because many of the times when we're going day to day and have our routines and things are flowing, I'm not going to say smoothly, but they're flowing. They keep happening. We've got it down. We forget to check in. And we need to check in not only with friends like this morning with all of us together, but we also need to check in with ourselves and look at, what's my body telling me? Why am I not feeling satisfied? Why am I feeling grumpy? Why does this seem to be happening, but I'm not going to really say it's working? What's my body telling me? So I've got a little ache and things like that, but have I really thought it through? Have I changed? Have I had my kale chips for the week? Gail will tell us about that. Or have I made sure that my sticky book is up to date? And then Sarah can tell us about that. And then if we haven't got the whole pattern and the big picture together, Sweetie can tell us about that, because that's strategies for us. And as I look at it, I really want to make sure that we all know that our mind and our bodies are all one. So we need a checkup from the neck up as well as from head to toe and everything in between. So that means if your gut, being your emotions, feeling out of kilter, out of sync, something like that, maybe it's a cue. And taking those cues and listening to them is important. How do we want to listen? How are we feeling? What is that disgruntledness about that may be in there? Maybe it's time that we just take a few minutes and say, thank you. Thank you that I was able to get up this morning. Maybe it's a gratitude checkup that we need to have. Maybe it's the fact that there's little irritants going on. And it could be as simple as the tag on the clothes that we're wearing, that little irritation that we weren't really conscious of because we didn't check in. So take the time, check in with your friends like we're doing this morning, but check in with yourself to see what's going on. Hey, Gail, tell us about those kale chips and other things on way to check in with our nutrition and our sleep and those kinds of things.
Well, Dr. Edith and all the other Women of Dare Whimsy, good morning, and good morning to all our guests that are watching. You know, Edith, you said so many wonderful things about checking in first thing in the morning. One of the things that I do is the gratitude. You know, you wake up and you're just grateful that you were able to wake up. Then I start feeling my body. Does anything hurt? Does anything feel amiss? And I just go down, you know, starting at my head down to my feet. Now, the last week or so, I've noticed that my right hip has been kind of hurting a little bit. I've been paying attention to that every day when I check in, keep thinking it'll probably pass because I'm not used to my hip hurting. So I keep thinking it's going to pass, it's going to pass. So this morning I stopped, as you said, and took an inventory. What is it that is going on that is causing my hip to hurt? What have I been doing or not doing over the past few days that could have caused it? And sure enough, just lying there thinking about it, letting it come to me, it occurred to me that I've been wearing shoes that I've not put my inserts in, you know, my arch supports in. I really need those in all my shoes, and I've been wearing this pair of shoes without them because they've been comfortable enough. So as you say, your body will let you know that up. Just gotta have those inserts no matter what in order to keep on an even keel. So now I'll watch and see what happens over the next few days. With me, the first thing is all about the body. How is my body feeling? Because if it's out of comfort, if it's unease in my body, you can bet you the rest of the day is going to be following that pattern. Because for one thing, I'll be thinking about that unease. It will be on my mind as to what's going on. So I have to assess that first thing in the morning, figure it out, and then go from there. After that, it's get up, and of course it's exercise, all the little routines that you have, I have, we all have, especially as gifted girls. A lot of times we like to read something inspiring in the morning to settle our brains, center them into where we are going to be feeling in our hearts that day. That's very important for me. And as for the kale chips, I just finished an order for a customer this morning. There were some left. So, so that's really exciting for me, for my husband, and for my German short-haired Nick, who happens to love my kale chips. So we are going to be having some healthy snacks today. That is very uplifting for my mind and lets me know that I'm going to have the energy for the day. So that's my story. Sarah, I know you have a story too, especially about your ability to coordinate things with your stickies and spirals. Tell us all about that.
Well, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I am so thrilled. This morning, some of my check-ins were on, my check-ins were with my pantry. They were also with my stickies and spirals. And I have a watery eye this morning, so I hope it doesn't just keep dripping. But I went ahead, it's the new month coming up tomorrow, and so I like to have a check-in with the pantry items, and that way my family has food for the next couple of weeks and perhaps even for the month. And so I made a list of all the different stores that needed to be gone to, and I won't have to go to all of them, but I wanted to make sure that all of those lists were filled out for the different stores so that we have our organic food, our gluten-free food, all the things that we need to stay healthy. I also prepped my Stickies and Spirals notebook for the month of October, as well as a little bit of into November and December, because October begins our last quarter of 2015 as well, so that's really important. I also kind of took some time to check in with myself as to what I want this new year of my marriage to look like, and some things I want to discuss with Jerry. October marks our 22nd anniversary, and so we want to think about some things together as we celebrate our anniversary this coming weekend. And so those are some things I checked in with as well this morning. I also looked at my goals. At the very beginning of the year, I took a class from Michael Hyatt, and he talked about your best life ever, or your best year ever, I believe. And so I looked at my goals, and am I on track with my goals? With just 3 months left to wrap up this year, I wanted to see where am I at, and have I accomplished the things that I said I wanted to accomplish. And so that's a great thing to check in with as well. I also checked in with, been the last few days checking in with my wardrobe, and have I switched out the things that were summer because it's starting to get cooler now here in California. Have I switched out those things? Do my items need mended? Do some things need to be taken in or let out? Do I have all the pieces in my wardrobe that I want for presentations and speaking and my times on television? So checking in with your systems and the things that you are doing on a daily basis, and the things that support you nutritionally, as well as organizationally, as well as relationally, as well as with how you look, will help you to have things run smoothly, and it will make it so that you don't have any emergencies to Nordstrom's to get items that are overpriced. You can be thoughtful about what you're wearing and how you look and how you present yourself to the world. So, sweetie, tell us some more about checking in.
I love all the things you guys are sharing. one of the things that I'd like to talk about is some of those misconceptions on life plans. You know, some of us were raised with statements like the busiest people get the most done, but I'd like to challenge you today on your life strategy to say, are the things you're busy with getting the life you want accomplished? You see, I understood early on that work is an ethic I believe in, and I understood about completion, and I understood about getting things handled, but I didn't have as high a value on living the life I wanted to live. And one of the changes of turning 50 and having children the age mine are, which is 19 to 30, is recognizing that I have to take time to be where I am because this day is only today. You see, when my children were small, I made a choice to teach school so I could be home with them during school hours, after school, and summers, and that was important to me. When our last child came, I made a decision to work in independent business so that I could be home with her and homeschool her second grade through graduation. I know that to live the life I want to live, I have to make active choices. We have to have actions that matter, as Sarah would say, because if we don't check in with ourselves, our life strategy can become the whim of whoever else is in front of us. You see, with 4 children, there's always something that needs to be done at the house. With a husband and an employee group, as well as the things that I work in strategy projects, there's always someone who needs something. But without a strategy, without some boundaries in place for what it should look like to be healthy for me and for them, we can very often get on a strategy that just creates stress. How many of you are ready for less stress in your life? I can assure you that basics matter in that space. We have to check in with ourselves, as Gail has said. We have to hear our heart. You know, Lolly Dask would say, put your hand on your heart. Can you feel your heart? Are you touched? Are you stressed? Are you at ease? Are you at peace? Are you just like, oh, I love my life? If you're not, it might be time to schedule a break. When Sarah and I first started these conversations a few years ago, you know, it was hard for us to even think of 5 minutes worth of how to take care of ourselves. It was one of our weekly challenges with each other as friends to say, what are you doing to take care of yourself today? Our strategy at that point was to have a list of things that didn't cost anything to do except the effort that would make a difference in our ability to slow down and love our life. For me, some things were as easy as buying the simple pens that I like to write with because I am a writer and I am an educator and I write thousands of words a week as well as type them. And having a pen that was comfortable to my hand was a huge boon to my life. Sometimes it was as easy as learning to say no to things that were just silly, kind of like the old story of you would cut the ham in half and put it in 2 pans because that's what Mama did. And someday we asked Mama why she did that. She said, oh, silly, I had to cut the ham in half because my pans were too little. The rule didn't apply to the new life. I personally, just about a week ago, had a fun experience about having lunch at a certain time, and I realized I was attributing that time for lunch to something that didn't exist in my life anymore. Some of us need a life check-in. Some of the things we're doing doesn't fit our life anymore. Some of the stories we're telling ourselves aren't true anymore. And some of the situations we're stressed by don't exist anymore. We've learned past them. We've grown past them. We're actively able to choose our life choices. You know, my theme song is Choosing is a Choice. And the strategy I would love to share with you today is to acknowledge, to own awareness of that your choices, your choosing is a choice. You see, choices come at us all day long. What we wear, what we eat, what we think, how we think, what we listen to, what we say. But your choosing that choice is completely holistically yours. You may not control how someone talks to you. You may not be able to handle what comes at you from the weather, but how you respond to it, that's completely your own choice. Choosing is such a powerful thing. And sometimes choosing to do things that you've just never dreamed that you would give yourself permission to do is a powerful choice. I know personally this week I bought a vehicle that's not going to be my everyday driver. It's a vehicle simply for adventures. We're calling her Jilly. But she can carry the canoes, she can carry the hay for the horses, she can even pull a horse trailer if I need her to. But that choice has opened up a plethora of new things that probably 10 days ago I would have never considered permissible, even though I was the adult in charge of the choice. How many things do you withhold from yourself because you haven't given yourself permission to love your life. You know, most of the time it's not our Greek holiday, it's not an organically $1 million in the bank. It's simple things. It's waking up at a time that's more suited to your body clock. It's taking off for lunch when you're hungry. It's having time outside instead of staying in an inside room all day long. What are some of the choices you're not choosing currently that could really enhance today with nothing else involved but choosing it? I can't wait to hear what your comments are about that, Dr. Edith, because I know in your world with multi-talents and the how-to in life conversations, you really talk about mindset and how we choose those choices. Talk to us about that.
Sure. Well, thanks, sweetie. Sweetie's saying choose. And I guess some of the times I'll use the word conscious choice, because we'll make choices many times, and it's that conscious choice, because otherwise we'll have chosen even if we didn't make that selective choice that we wanted to do. And the other thing is that you have to have the awareness, and like Sweetie was saying, give yourself permission that you really can give yourself choice. But many times as gifted women and in the multi-talented area, we'll either have so many choices, or we will have had all these different ideas, whether it's for health, whether it's for peace, whether it's for being able to interact with others and connect. Each one of these things will have all these ideas, but like with Sarah, you capture those ideas. And then if you've got them captured, you can say, and then like Sweetie was saying that she had done, they had made a list of what can they do that doesn't cost anything, that gives them a choice. When people are trying to make changes and therefore make choices, they need to know what their options are. And not having to think about those options in the moment when it's presented to you to make a decision. If you have something that cues you, then you can say, oh, okay, I have these 3 choices, and I can do those right now. Even if it's being able to be healthy. So someone likes to bicycle, someone likes to walk, someone likes to run, someone likes to stand on their head. Whatever those choices are fine. Somebody might just like to dance. But if we have those options outlined, then we can choose. And today I might want to go on the bicycle ride. But tomorrow, I just may want to put on one of my favorite records and dance around the house. That all counts. And it's important then to, when we get to a point where I need to do something and I need to do it right now, if we've taken the time to check in and think it through and consciously listed options, then it's just like pulling something out of the gift bag, and it's a surprise. But at the same time, it's been a conscious choice because we have thought it through previously. Awareness, knowing your options, being able to make conscious choices, whether it's about your children, whether it's about yourself, whether it's about health, whether it's about goals, whether it's about business, but looking at those options and choosing. Because you really are the only one in control of your life. And if you don't make a choice, as they say, that is a choice. Gail, what kinds of choices do you make during the day, and how do you go about making your choices?
That's a very good question, Dr. Edith, and you brought up some really fabulous points, and so did Sweetie, that I've kind of been swirling around as I'm listening to you talk. You know, one thing that I am all about is multi-generational women coming together to support one another and share not only our stories, but share what we do here, is to share these wellspring living things about what is it that we do. Because, you know, as gifted girls, we can, I know you all know this, we can get into our heads and think that this is the box we are in, we can't deviate from it, this is our thought pattern, and it may work for us, maybe it doesn't work all the time, but we can get set there. But one thing that I love about being here at Dare Whimsy, one of the things I love about things like Google Hangouts and Skype, period, is that you can get people together to support you. Now, here at Dare Whimsy, just these conversations that we've had many times, and we need to have them many more times for that muscle memory, so to speak, in our brain to kick in, is that when I hear you all talk about giving yourself permission, boy, does that not only resonate with me, but it allows me to say to myself, that's true. It's okay to give yourself permission to change a thought pattern that you had, to change the time of luncheon that you used to have, to change the time of getting up or going to bed or doing any of the tasks, the multiple tasks that we do as business owners, as mothers, as daughters taking care of an elder mother as I am. We can give each other permission simply by talking about it. We each have different decisions to make in our day, but to know that, wow, Sarah said that she gives herself permission to do this. Sweetie gave herself permission to buy a car. Wow, that is really cool. Then maybe I can do something like that. I don't have any urge to buy a car right now, but there are other things in my life, I'm sure there are yours as well, where you're thinking, I can't do that. I can't do that because of XYZ thoughts. As Dr. Edith said, they're probably not even conscious thoughts. They're thoughts that maybe came from long ago when someone told you, that's a frivolous purchase. You cannot do that. That's a frivolous place to go. That's a frivolous thing to read. You know, it can go on and on and on. But gathering together with other women is really what I find that has truly helped me to be able to hear these permission, these gifted stories that I thought were just all about my mindset, to hear that we all have them and the tips and the processes that we each use to make conscious decisions to rise above them. Sweetie and I have had so many conversations that basically speak about eureka moments, as Oprah said, aha moments. Wow, I didn't even realize I was consciously hanging on to that thought all these years. But now I'm going to change it. I'm going to choose to change it. Sarah, oh, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, some things that you shared really resonated with me, and that making that conscious choice to choose and checking in with your emotions of how we feel about those choices, I think, is really, really key. In fact, the last few weeks or so, I've been really talking with my daughter as she prepares to make choices about where she's going to be going to college this next year. And she's really had a lot of angst about expectations of other people and what she really wants. And, you know, it's brought her to tears of, you know, people think I should do this because I've had a 4.0 for 3 years and, you know, for 4 years, or, you know, this is her final year of college and she's worried about keeping that 4.0 and what people will think if she doesn't have that 4.0 or she gets a B in one class, and letting people down, and the, you know, what if she doesn't get a full ride scholarship, and oh my goodness, how's she going to let Jerry and I down? Like, all of these things are something that, had I not been attuned to my own personal feelings, my own experiences as a gifted child, and having those same experiences that she has, that she's having right now, I wouldn't have been able to say, Clarissa, it's really important that you do what your heart's desire is. Whatever you choose to do as far as which school you go to, I mean, all the choices that you have on your list are fabulous. And if you don't get a full ride scholarship, guess what? It's not the end of the world. You've already scored higher than me on your ACT, and you have another time to take it. You know, she's been so worried about being perfect and letting people down. And her guidance counselor wants her to go to this, you know, to this really prestigious school, and yet it's humongous. And she's just not really wanting to be a number, where the Waldorf school that she's in right now is, you know, 57 people in the whole entire senior class. So a huge school terrifies her. I mean, I think she would do fine. But it's important that we look at what are the things that we want personally, and what are the things that we're saying yes to because we have expectations for other people. And so as we're checking in, I think it's important to make a list of the actions that matter for us, the outcomes that matter for us, and the outcomes and actions that resonate to developing a life that will create joy for us. You know, for a long, long time, I didn't have a housekeeper, and that was okay because everyone's expectations were that I should have enough time in my day to take care of all the house and take care of everybody else. And yet I was miserable. And so working, you know, 1 extra hour a week pays for my housekeeper to come every single week. And so that allowed me to say, you know what, I'm going to just dedicate that 1 extra hour of creative flow and income from using my gifts to allow her to be here for 3 hours to make my house squeaky clean and a place that I love being in. The same thing with when I get up. Other people didn't want to get up at 4:30, but I really love that time in the morning to be quiet, listening to the waterfall, and yet I make a choice to go to bed before everybody else so that I can stay healthy. So when we're looking into our life and checking in with what matters to us, we have to be willing to have the courage to take actions that matter to us personally, not to anybody else, but actions that matter to us personally so that we can create a life that's of ease and joy and peace and that we actually want to get up for in the morning. So hope that helps. But sweetie, wrap us up, girl.
I love it. I love every single thing that we've shared today. And part of the things that really are present for me this week is that these actions that matter that we've all shared in different ways. You know, our bodies are autonomous in so many ways. We breathe without thinking about it most of the time. We have a heartbeat that beats without thinking about it most of the time. We're capable of reaching without saying, okay, like the $6 million woman, I need to target that hand to it. Unless there's been damage, we do that automatically. But if we've let things interrupt our needs, whether it's guilt, shame, blame, limited thinking, permission-based thinking, authoritative involvement thinking, we stop autonomously taking care of ourselves. You know, as children, we took care of ourselves. As infants, we would call out if we were hungry. We would call out if we were scared. We would call out if we were thirsty, and someone met our needs. Well, we're big girls now, and it's time to meet our own needs. But we need to stop and think, what do I need? What would make my life work better? What would make my day work better? Maybe that's more water throughout the day so that your body's healthier. Maybe that's more breaks from your desk or a standing desk so that you're in a different posture while you're working. Maybe that's planning first where the time out is and then working the work around that. I think that's so important that we plan for play because that play allows us to become our best selves again, to laugh, to create, to have a fresh perspective and point of view. And when we go back to those things that we do as taskings and work in our lives, we're better prepared to answer those questions. I think it's just so important that we have community, that we have life strategies that involve other people checking in with us, giving us that side eye when we say things as truth that may not be for everyone. Saying those things that sound like they're our fault when the side eye from a friend says, are you sure that's your fault or even your responsibility? You see, community helps life strategy work. We're invigorated when others cheer us on. We're encouraged when others offer opportunities to think about it differently. We're inspired when others finish their goals. So part of the life strategy for me is making sure that I have high trustable people in my lives. The Women of Dare Whimsy are some of those women for me. That I have high trustable people that I can trust my dreams to. They've earned the right to hear the details. And we check in with each other, sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly. But those times of life strategy together to share the best of our life, to share the difficult things we're going through, to share the things that are working for us and the things we need to work on together. That's just powerful. Each week we gather here at Dare Whimsy at Between Us Girls on Wednesday at 10 a.m. We share conversations just like we did today about what it's like to be a well-able woman, a high creative, a thinker, a person who wants to explore the ways and journeys of other women who think well. I hope you'll join us. None of us are gurus. We just hope to share our experience, and we hope that you'll share ours at darewhimsy.com. That's D-A-R-E, Whimsy, W-H-I-M-S-Y.com. There are articles, opportunities, classes, and products. You can follow us home to our websites, or you can leave your comments, and we'll follow you home and get to know you too. We look forward to being with you each week. Find us on Facebook at Dare Whimsy as well, facebook.com/Dare Whimsy. We're gathering generations of women. We're sharing the journey of being gifted and creative women, and we hope you'll come along for the joy too.